When you're thinking about different wind strengths and tying your sail ties, it's really not that complicated. You just have to make sure that you're tying your ties in a way that lets the sail rotate around the mast efficiently and without too much space. That might seem simple sometimes, so here's an easy way to think about it. The more wind, the more friction, the closer you need the sail to the mast. The less wind, the less friction, and the further away the sail can be within class measurement. This is 1.5mm Marlow with vectoring core, and it makes a great sail tie, about 1.5 to 2 feet of length. And when you tie it, you can do it in a few different ways. So let's go through light winds. Light winds, you can go once around with no safety ties. Double checking the gap. I want to bring it in just a little bit closer. I want to tension it so that I can see just how far away the sail is going to be. When thinking about medium winds, it gets a little bit trickier. You have to make sure that you're wrapping the sail tie and tensioning the sail properly so that when the pressure does get into the sail, remember that what you see out on the boat park is not what you're going to get out on the course. If there's very little or variable winds out on the boat park like it is right now, out on the race course there might be a lot more breeze, so when you actually do go out, what you set your sail to might not actually be helping you. So for medium breeze, I recommend going twice around and setting a good square knot. Again, we want to check the tension in our sail and make sure that everything's on the up and up. A more advanced way of tying this is using the same line as the purchase system. What you're going to do is essentially bend the line on itself like this, and you can use it to tighten even more. This is better for heavy winds. Some people do this even in medium breeze, and it actually helps you set the tension, but the thing is that if you don't do it right, you can be tricking yourself and thinking that you've set it correctly when it's actually not. When thinking about your preventer and all the other settings, remember to keep in mind, you don't want to have the sail ties interfering with your running rigging. Your running rigging is any line that is actively used throughout sailing time. It's not a set it and forget it. For example, your outhaul, your preventer, your top ties, and your boom vane. Obviously your main sheet as well. Your sail ties should not be interfering with any of those things. If you wrap your sail ties around your boom bridle, you can get into some trouble because you're trying to crank down on the main sheet and over tensioning your sail and flattening it out when you don't really want to. Let's take a look at an advanced way of setting your boom preventer. We're gonna loosen the boom vane to make sure that this is proper. And remember, what we're doing with setting the boom preventer is tensioning the luff, or helping to tension the luff, with a combination of the boom preventer and the boom vane. The key is you want to match both so that the luff is tensioned properly. The other way that you can check is through looking at your bands, but we're gonna take a look at that later. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna take a look at our conditions and see what's going on out there and get an idea of what to expect. We're gonna give it a couple of twists to get the measurement from the boom preventer rivet to the gooseneck and get it right. The shorter that measurement, the higher up the sail is gonna go and the more depth that your luff is gonna have. The bigger that measurement is, the more tension your luff is gonna get, and the more flattened out your sail is gonna be and more depowered. On a day like today, we have medium breeze. We're gonna make sure that we add 2 twists, and we're gonna double check these 2 twists against the measurements on the sail. So I'm gonna go ahead and pre-tension here, grab my boom vane, and set it so I can adjust with my main sheet later. Now here, we're still missing our sprit pole, and we're still missing a little bit more vang tension to tension the luff of the sail properly. So once we actually do get our sprit pole on and start tensioning the top of the sail, there are a few things to watch out for, especially the top preventer. You really want to make sure that the top preventer is set properly so that it doesn't allow the top tie to raise any higher than the top mast hole and keep the band within measurement. The friction from the sail ties are grabbing onto the top of the mast, so we have to fix that. So what's wrong with this picture? Anytime you want to talk about rigging, you have to be looking at the whole picture across the sail. You never want to get in the habit of just thinking that you did one thing right, everything else is right. Take a look at everything in context. How does the sail look? What does a shape look like? Is my sail band within measurement? Have I over flattened the sail, or do I have too many creases in the wrong places? This is the kind of thinking that you need to have when you're thinking about advanced sail rigging. Any sail will perform if you set it up and tune it correctly. So what's wrong with this picture? Obviously we have some sail ties missing, our boom vang is too loose, and it looks like the foot of our sail is too flattened out. Let's go ahead and fix that. So a sail that's been set up for light air is going to be flattened out but not depowered, because remember that the air does not have enough energy to make it all the way around and give you good airflow. Your foot should be tensioned but not creased. Your band should be at the top, right below the top mast band. Your boom preventer should be with enough twist where the boom takes a flat angle when the boat is at rest. Your boom vang should have just a little bit of give, not too much, depending on your sailing style and ability. Remember, you set your sail up for the lulls, not the puffs. So when you're flattening out your sail for heavier breeze, always remember that you want to start at the bottom of the sail and work your way up. You're trying to pull the sail down to tension the luff. Start with your boom preventer, take off any twists, retie your mast corner tie right above the boom over the boom preventer to give it a little bit of extra grab and friction. You're gonna need it in heavy breeze. Next, what you wanna do is you wanna release the tension on the sprit halyard right here so that you have enough slack to work with at the boom vang. Bring the boom down low, set the vang to help you out. You've already taken off twists on the boom preventer. Set the boom preventer and bring it down. You're gonna notice by checking your bands. If your bands are out of measurement, it means you need to tweak something, perhaps the length of the boom preventer so that you get the right tension. When you're done, you should be getting these flat vertical creases from the tack all the way to the peak. Your measurement band should be squarely on top of the bottom band. With regards to your sail ties, what you really want to make sure is that you really crank them on, because when you head out into heavy or very heavy breeze, remember that the wind is going to stretch out your sail and give it tension. So if it's already kind of rubbing against the mast, don't worry too much, because the wind pressure is going to take care of that. Hopefully you guys learned a little something, and try out these tips next time you're at the boat park and go and practicing. If you're not sure of anything, check with your coach, and if you don't have a dedicated coach, write to us. Send us a message or write us in the comments. This has been Alberto. See you next time.